Women have always built this country, often without equal access, often without equal credit. And in early America, marriage erased a woman's legal identity entirely. Her wages, her property, her name, all transferred to her husband by law. In 1848, New York passed the first law giving married women the right to own property. And women rightfully pushed for more. In 1872, Susan B. Anthony walked into a polling place in Rochester, New York, and cast a ballot. She was arrested, tried, and convicted for voting, but she never paid the fine, and decades later, her face was put on a coin. Madam Sujay Walker built a haircare empire from nothing, employed thousands of black women nationwide, and became America's first self-made female millionaire. But it wasn't until 1920 that women won the right to vote. And for millions of black women and women of color, Jim Crow laws meant that right remained out of reach for decades more. But that didn't stop women from accomplishing greatness. In fact, Bessie Coleman went to France, earned her pilot's license, and became the first black woman licensed to fly anywhere in the world. In 1932, Amelia Earhart became the first woman to fly solo across the Atlantic. Same sky, different doors. Grace Hopper created the first compiler in 1952, making it possible to write code in plain language and opening computing to an entirely new generation of minds. Yet, it took until 1954 for the Supreme Court to rule racial segregation in schools as unconstitutional. And the fight to make that ruling real in classrooms, laboratories, and boardrooms would take generations more as women pushed for the recognition and equality they deserved. Jian-Shung Wu designed and led the experiment that overturned the fundamental law of physics, but because of prejudice at the time, her male colleagues received the Nobel Prize. She did not. Katherine Johnson's orbital trajectory calculations were so trusted that astronauts refused to fly without her personal sign-off. But it wasn't until 1974 that it finally became illegal to deny credit based on sex or marital status. This was in our parents' lifetime. But women don't need permission to make breakthroughs. Dr. Patricia Bath patented a laser device that transformed cataract surgery and restored sight to patients who had been blind for decades. Ellen Ochoa became the first Hispanic woman in space in 1993 and later the first Hispanic director of NASA's Johnson Space Center. Kapilana Chawla became the first woman of Indian origin in space in 1997, a mission specialist who proved where you start doesn't define how far you go. In 2009, Sonia Sotomayor became the first Latina justice on the United States Supreme Court. Ursula Burns became the first black woman to lead a Fortune 500 company. She was the CEO of Xerox. In 2010, Catherine Bigelow became the first woman to win the Oscar for Best Director for The Hunt Locker. She beat her ex-husband, James Cameron, to do it. Every woman in this video built something, often without a blueprint, often without permission. At OMSDC, we believe the future depends on changing that. By helping our communities grow stronger and build world-class businesses, we open the door to opportunity. The future won't be built by talent alone. It'll be built by talent that's seen, supported, and given the chance to thrive.